Just ahead on CTV News, County Police need your help locating a man who set an animal on fire. And Sheriff Carr has a major announcement.
I know that we still have a lot of work that still needs to be done, and I want to make sure that, before I leave this office, that work can be done.
Plus, food stamp benefits have resumed, but funding for Marylanders is still uncertain. These stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for December 3rd. I'm Jonathan Hunter.
And I'm Anaya Falcon. Thanks so much for joining us.
Topping our news tonight, one man is dead following a shooting at MGM National Harbor.
Prince George's County Police say this shooting was targeted. According to Chief Nader, the shooting took place just before noon. He says the victim was ordering food when the suspect came in and shot him. The suspect then fled from the scene.
Police are looking at surveillance video and trying to locate him. Chief Nader says the victim was a man in his 20s. He went on to say there is no threat to the public.
The victim was in the food court. The suspect came into the food court and seemed like he knew where the victim was and then went that way. We did, out of precautionary measure, lock down some of the local schools just till we got a handle on that the gunman was not on foot in the community, which he is not. So there's no active threat to the community, but we are actively searching for the suspect.
Police closed the food court for the investigation, but the rest of MGM remains open. Chief Nader would not release the description of the shooter so it doesn't jeopardize their investigation.
And be sure to stay with CTV News as we will stay on the story and follow the latest developments. The Prince George's County Council has elected a new leadership team for 2026. Crystal Oriata, who represents District 7, was elected to be the chair, while Eric Olson, who represents District 3, was elected to be vice chair. Oriata says her top priority is to make sure families in the county have access to affordable child care, while Olson says he wants to make sure the county has a balanced budget in the year ahead. The council voted 10-0 to elect both Oriata and Olson.
I had just been meeting with the comptroller, and we were talking about how childcare, she did a report on this, the impacts for the economy. When we talk to a lot of families, not being able to go back to work or continue your education to get a higher paying job is the cost of childcare.
The budget, I think, is top of mind. Obviously, we have to, that's our main duty of the year, is to make sure that we're passing a sound budget, and we'll work with the county executive and our colleagues to have a balanced budget, and then look at the issues, as the chair said, around child care and mapping and laying out a path forward.
The council will recess until January.
Prince George's police are looking for a man who set a dog on fire. 911 dispatchers received multiple calls Monday evening about a man pouring gasoline on a dog, then setting the animal on fire. Reports show that the dog ran into the woods, causing a small brush fire. This all happened in a wooded area near the intersection of Cross Street and Pumphrey Drive in District Heights. When firefighters arrived, they found the dog, which was a pit bull. The animal ultimately died.
Crime overall is down year over year in Prince George's County, but two key categories remain a source of concern.
State's Attorney Tara Jackson says domestic violence and child abuse remain key issues. Since Jackson took office, there have been 3 first-degree murder convictions related to domestic violence in the county, including the August 2025 conviction of 51-year-old Kevin Kerr for the violent death of his girlfriend. Kerr stabbed Gwendolyn McCoy 78 times.
And as per child abuse, the National Children's Alliance says 1 in 4 girls and 1 in every 13 boys are estimated to be a victim of child sex abuse. Jackson is urging parents to pay close attention to your child's behavior. She says if there is any deviation in their behavior or if they seem uncomfortable around certain individuals, talk with them and listen.
And Prince George's County Sheriff John Carr is running for a second term. Carr, who was first elected in 2022, he says he's running to build upon the accomplishments of his first term, which include domestic violence prevention, expansion of the department's behavioral health, and focusing on reducing outstanding warrants for violent offenders. The Prince George's native tells CTV what a second term would look like.
One will be really moving forward with that expansion of domestic violence. The second portion of it will actually be expanding a lot of our youth resources and senior resources. We want to make sure that we actually meet a lot of those needs, especially coming from COVID and coming from the government shutdown. We're seeing that a lot of people are still trying to recover financially. So this second term, really want to focus on that, really want to bridge that gap between some of the partners and the communities and public safety, and really starting to come up with some true common sense, boots on the ground resources and solutions.
Carr's official announcement is set for tomorrow night at the Westin National Harbor at 5 p.m.
The Trump administration has threatened to withhold food stamp funding from many Democratic-led states. The president said this will be the case unless those states provide data on fraud in the program. USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins says the data is needed to address rampant fraud. The USDA has requested information regarding the names and immigration status of aid recipients. Most states did comply with the request, but 22 did not. Maryland is among one of the states that has not provided data. And when it comes to the SNAP program, Maryland may have to pay more than $300 million in 2027 to ensure people in need get their food. According to the One Big Beautiful bill, states will be expected to contribute 75% of the administrative cost starting next year. Plus, states that have an error rate above 6% will be required to contribute some state money to fund SNAP benefits. Maryland's error rate was above 13%, which is one of the highest in the country.
And Maryland is putting new money behind its push to fix the teacher shortage and bring more men into the classroom. Governor Wes Moore announced $19 million in grants for the now state's Grow Your Own initiative. The program expands teacher pipelines, boosts diversity, and creates paid apprenticeships. But the first round is aimed specifically at recruiting more men. According to the governor's office, right now only about 23% of Maryland teachers are male. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Anaya Falcon.
And I'm Jonathan Hunter. Still to come, a new twist on a classic Christmas story is coming to Prince George's County.
After the break, you'll hear what popular Broadway musical inspired the production. Back in a moment.
Everyone likes rooting for their favorite team with some friends. But if you plan on drinking, don't drive. Designate a sober driver or schedule a rideshare for a safe ride home. Be the make-up plan driver. Be the driver who saves lives.
Welcome back. An original Christmas hip-hop musical about the birth of Jesus is coming to Landover. I sat down with the director and an actor in The King is Here, All Hail the King, that is set to be performed at the City of Praise Family Ministries.
It's a fully loaded, talented show. And what I mean by that is this is a show where not only are you getting a hip-hop element, but you're getting an R&B element, you're getting a gospel element, you're getting spoken word, you're getting top-tier acting. So it's fully loaded with a cast that's bringing so many different elements of the craft to you.
Mark McKinnon is the director and writer of this hip-hop Christmas musical. The King is Here, All Hail the King, performed at the City of Praise Family Ministries in Landover. McKinnon says this show was inspired by the Broadway musical Hamilton and is told from the perspective of the villain in the story of Jesus' birth, King Herod.
I said, wow, how about we focus on the backstory of Herod's rise to his power and then add that to the love journey of Mary and Joseph and how their stories collide. And that's what this show is exactly about.
The show features an 80-member cast, live animals, and live music. In addition to the show, audience members can enjoy a petting zoo and shop with Black-owned businesses on the City of Praise campus.
So these actors who've already been on major network TV shows are in this play. And we also have a great cast of singers who've shared the stage with people like Stevie Wonder, Ty Tribbett, you name them. Like, these singers are amazing.
C.J. Winston plays King Herod in the musical. He says his experience acting in this play is enlightening.
I've learned a lot about Herod. I've learned a lot about the story behind Herod. I've learned a lot about even more details about Mary and Joseph's story. So I've learned so much, and bringing this story to life is, it's an art.
Winston also says playing an historic and evil character has its challenges.
This digs deeper into his backstory, so I guess it kind of could answer the questions that people might, want to ask about, like, how did this happen? How did that happen? Why is Herod like this? I feel like I, was challenged with trying to bring that to life, but I feel like I did a, good job of doing it.
The director of the musical says City of Praise is dedicated to having a Christmas production this year, even when other churches opted not to.
We just came out of a very, very rough time with the furlough going on. A lot of families were trying to figure things out financially. But this is why we made our ticket prices very, very affordable. They're super, super low to make sure that the entire family can enjoy it without breaking their pockets. And that's one thing we want to make sure that people come out and have a good time and leave this Christmas season with a blessing of the Christmas story.
Performances of The King is Here, All Hail the King at City of Praise Family Ministries are on Saturday, December 13th at 1 and 6:30 p.m. and Sunday, December 21st at 5:30 p.m. For ticket and showtime information, visit Eventbrite and search the City of Praise Family Ministries page.
TSA is making some policy changes that could cost people who fly more money. Beginning February 1st, travelers who do not have an acceptable form of identification like the Real ID will be required to pay a $45 fee. Officials say the payment will cover the cost of TSA's Confirm ID, an alternative way to verify a traveler's identity. The fee will last for a 10-day travel period. TSA is urging Americans to get a Real ID before the deadline.
And a highway advocacy group that focuses on highway safety gives Maryland and the District of Columbia its highest rating of green. That said, the Advocates for Highway and Auto Safety 2026 Roadmap to Safety report indicates both jurisdictions still have room for improvement. They earned the rating in part because the two have at least 8 of its recommended safety laws on the books. As for improvements, the group points to child passenger safety and teen drivers. The report also highlighted the economic toll of crashes, which in Maryland came to nearly $6 billion annually. And the Maryland State Board of Education is getting a new voice for teachers. Educators statewide have elected Nicole Murray Lewis, a longtime social studies teacher at James H. Blake High School. She will serve as their next teacher member. Murray Lewis spent 24 years at Gaithersburg High and says she's stepping into the role to advocate for both teachers and students. Her appointment now goes to Governor Wes Moore and the state Senate.
Okay, check this out. If you love seafood, you really want to listen to this story. The makers of Old Bay seasoning say they're going back to their classic tin cans. The makers used tin containers for 8 decades, but switched to plastic in 2017. Some die-hard fans say the plastic containers changed the flavor. Plastic Old Bay containers will be phased out as tin cans are expected on store shelves starting this month.
The spotlight is positively shining this week because our pet of the week is Cassian.
This 4-year-old male brown tabby and white domestic short hair has been hanging out at the shelter since October 8th.
And Cassian may rock the brown tuxedo look, but don't let his classy outfit fool you. He's all about fun, games, and good vibes.
Just overall, just a chill boy. He loves other cats, loves to play. And just loves to just loves attention. I always recommend a slow introduction, even with other cats. While he is noted that he does like other cats, slow introductions is always the best, best for success in the long run.
So if you're looking for a fun, friendly fur ball who's ready to lift up your life, Cassian and all her shelter friends would love to warm up your home this holiday season.
You can call Animal Services at 301-780-7200. And remember, your next best friend is just one visit away.
And still to come on CTV News, our gorgeous Prince George's County has received countless awards for zoning, regulations, and even for quality of life improvements.
And after the break, we're joined by Planning Director Lakeisha Hull to learn more about what goes into the planning process. Stay with us.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020.
We were adopted in 2019.
And we were adopted in 2021.
We had a house, and it sounds crazy, but it wasn't a home. The one thing that Jake and Emma brought is it became a home.
When I met Dakota, he had just turned 14.
You weren't there for the first this and the first that. I missed the first words, but we got a lot of other firsts.
Watching her say, oh my God, I cannot believe I got my license. And she's like, I passed. And I'm like, girl.
See them grow. It is.
They chose to love us. They didn't have to. They chose us. Family.
You and you.
Kids in the middle.
What I thought was a complete life was nowhere near complete, but it is now.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Got one of these hanging on the wall? You're qualified. One of these? You're qualified too. Love a good checklist? Qualified. 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 Yep, qualified. Because if you know how to put up anything in your home, you're qualified to save lives by installing free smoke alarms in your community. Go to soundthealarm.org to find a volunteer event near you.
Welcome back. When most people hear planning board, they think of permits and zoning, but there's a lot more that goes into making sure a city or county runs smooth and efficient for people who live there. For example, in Prince George's County, there are several priorities, including making sure new spaces function for people with special needs and even ensuring a variety of transportation options to reach the place.
Joining us in studio to talk about some of what goes on into the planning for Prince George's is the county's Planning Department Director, Ms. Lakeisha Hull. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
So we want to jump right in. Tell us about the Neighborhood Planning Academy and Brown Bag Series.
Well, the Neighborhood Planning Academy is an award-winning program that really engages the public in the planning process. It's like a planning 101. And so it's open for Prince George's County residents to participate. It's a 7-week course. As a matter of fact, we have 61 cohorts involved in it this year, and we're happy to know that they're able to learn more about transportation, land use, other things that really matters to Prince Georgians.
And one thing we hear a lot about is the missing middle housing in neighboring jurisdictions. Can you kind of walk us through what it is and how does it affect people in the county?
So missing middle is a term that's really popular in a lot of planning circles. And so you have single family homes and then you have multifamily. So a lot of times folks are like, what about the middle housing, the housing that's between 4 to 12 units, the housing that also meets the needs of smaller units such as accessory dwelling units. And so what we're trying to do here in Prince George's County is see where do we have the right locations across the county to have that missing middle component. We want to also make sure before we proceed with any policy that we get input before proceeding.
And you have some comprehensive planning strategies underway. So briefly tell us a little bit about those.
So comprehensive planning is something that the state of Maryland requires every jurisdiction to have. So what that means is that you vision for a period of time ahead. So because we're such a big county, close to 500 square miles, we're visioning from our urban areas to our rural areas. And so we're hoping to start very soon listening sessions on Plan 2050. Other jurisdictions have a 2050 plan. So what that means is that we project out what does the county need since, we haven't done this effort in about 14 years. We have rideshare. 14 years ago, we didn't have rideshare. So now we're going to vision say, how do we have even more multimodal options for our residents to be able to use?
And it's no secret that Prince George's County over the last couple of years has had a lot of new developments. How do you ensure that these new developments kind of align with the community's needs?
So the great thing about being the planning director for Prince George's County, I get an opportunity to work with the 26 of the 27 cities here. So in addition to following county councils, zoning codes, and policies, we're able to use those type of platforms in community meetings on certain projects. And then we're also able to have public hearings through the planning board process, which are held on Thursdays. And those are open to the public. And so they'll see certain projects require conditions to be able to mitigate their impacts. And so that's where we want to make sure the public is very aware that there's different platforms for them to engage in, and also the municipalities as well.
And I know there's been an effort underway to reform the development review process. So tell us about the partnership between the planning board to do that.
Wonderful question. So in August, our new county executive, Aisha Braveboy, launched some really important initiatives about being more transformative and amplifying development review. And so I was able to work with the Department Permitting of Inspections and Enforcement Director and us beginning to work on shovel-ready projects and streamline the development review. So what that means is if you have a project that meets our code, we want to make sure that you can move forward in a very time-sensitive platform similar to other jurisdictions.
And one of the things that we hear a lot is people who live in the county sometimes feel like they are left out of the planning process. What do you guys do to ensure that people in the county essentially have a voice?
So the great thing is that, and this is something that you have as a big planning department, we do over 150 community engagement events. Many of our events are posted on our social media platform pages, so folks can also sign up through our Constant Contact to be notified about public hearings. There's also those wonderful signs that people see on properties that say, hey, this project is about to get a public hearing. So those are the different platforms. All of these are open to the public. We also have opportunities for people to write in emails. They can phone call, they can drop in to share some of their concerns on the projects.
And after serving as a director for nearly 2 years, what's your plan or your overall vision for the future?
So that's a great question. So I've been doing this line of work for about 23 years. I have a great platform with other planning directors across the country. And so there's other things that we're going to be looking forward in 2026. And so I'll kind of leave that little nugget for you guys to stay tuned. But we're trying to see how do we start to elevate placemaking. Placemaking is a way for us to be very transformative. And so how do we use pop-ups? How do we be able to activate our agricultural innovation, right? There's areas that we can do aquaponics. There's areas that we can really start to see where are the areas that we can see the redevelopment happen in a quicker standpoint, our shopping centers, so on and so forth. We know that there's some big opportunities with the Six Flags site closing, some of the federal properties as well. How do we start to reactivate that in an intentional way are some of those ideas we're looking at.
And this will be our last question. What does the future look like in Prince George's County?
Well, I'm always an optimist, and one thing I've learned doing planning for so long is that it's best to plan during the time that you have the availability to do it. And so right now we're working very hard. We have 5 plans right now in the department that we're working on, so please make sure the public comes in and get engaged in those processes. And so we're doing a lot of planning so that we can move forward in a couple years to really be innovative in the way that we need to be.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Lakeisha Hull. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, for more information on the county's planning department, visit the website at pgplanning.org. And we're not finished just yet. It's now time to toss things over to sports.
That's right, Anaya. And I hear there was a big game over at College Park last night. What's going on, Simon?
Stay tuned for your Wednesday sports page, everyone, because I have a recap for you on the Terps men's basketball team's matchup against Wagner. That story and more after the break. Don't move.
My opponent is completely disregarding almost half of my arguments which I responded to.
Communities must step up
Laws
and
alone
protest
cannot
against this
stop the bullying.
normalization. Well, I completely disagree.
Point of inquiry, do you guys even realize that the #1 killer of children and teens are gun injuries?
You're probably starting to realize now, this is not a debate.
There is no adult in this earth that wants children to die.
I worry for my kids.
Okay, everyone, you know what time it is. Now, for our first story, we go to College Park as the Terps men's basketball squad look to avoid their third straight loss in their matchup against Wagner University. Now, the game started off close with no team being able to put some distance between one another as Wagner had a 5-4 lead over the Terps a couple of minutes into the half. But good defense from Maryland, like this block from forward Solomon Washington on the fast break, and Pharrell Penn showing off his footwork with this sweet spin move into the nice finish inside, helped the Terps jump out to a 12-5 lead. As the half went on, Maryland did struggle to hit some of their shots, leaving the door open for the Seahawks to stay within striking distance. And eventually, this long-range jumper from Jaden Baker and this alley-oop finished off by Nick Jones helped tie the game at 19 apiece. The Seahawks even had a 21-20 lead at one point after the bucket from Eddie Pacer. But as the half winded down, the Terps were able to regain control, and this long-range jumper from Elijah Saunders, this off-balance finish by Washington, and another jumper, this time made by freshman guard Darius Adams, helped the team go on a 13-5 run to finish the first half with a 33-26 lead over Wagner. And Maryland kept the lead all the way to the end, taking down the Seahawks 89-63. Here's head coach Buzz Williams after the game on what he liked from his squad in the win.
We didn't turn the ball over, which was so much better. And then I think our defensive rebound percentage was either first or second best of our 9 games. And our offensive rebound percentage was easily the best. The reason we shot 45 free throws is because we didn't give the ball to the other team as much. And so I think we shot 109 balls tonight, which was by far the most that we have shot all season. And so there's a lot of encouraging things.
Good win, guys. Maryland will take the court next versus Iowa for their Big Ten opener on Saturday at 4 o'clock. And sticking with college hoops news, some sad news from the Terps women's basketball squad as guard Ava McKinney will miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL. The sophomore guard suffered the injury in the team's game versus Hofstra last Thursday during a fast break. McKinney has played a big role in the Lady Terps' success so far this season, ranking second on the team in field goal percentage at almost 67%. This is now the third Lady Terp to be sidelined with a torn ACL, with players Bree McDaniel and Leah Bartolome recovering from the injury as well. Head coach Brendan Fries and company will be in action tonight, though. The Lady Terps will take the court against Mount St. Mary's to try and get their 10th straight win. Maryland and the Mountaineers will tip off at 7 o'clock. Good luck, ladies. Meantime, the Washington Wizards fell to the Philadelphia 76ers last night, 121-102. The next opponent will be the Boston Celtics tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And finally, the Washington Capitals will be in San Jose tonight, taking on the Sharks. The puck drops at 10 o'clock. And that wraps up your Wednesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. Let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, it's going to be mostly clear with light winds. Tomorrow will be cloudy with a high of 43. Friday is going to be 36 degrees, and we have a chance of snow Friday night. Saturday will be partly sunny with a high of 43 and a low of 29.
And for our community calendar, does your home's Christmas light shine bright enough for the whole neighborhood to see? Well, tomorrow is the City of Bowie's deadline for the 2025 Holiday House Decorating Contest. Judging takes place December 10th. Homes must be located within the municipal limits of the city. For more information, contact the Special Events Manager at 301-809-3078.
And if you have a story to tell, you can reach out to our CTV News tip line.
Just give us a call at 301-486-4085, or you can send an email to ctvnews@pgctv.org. As always, we look forward to hearing from you.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.